Good morning, folks, and welcome to FYI. It's Friday, folks, the 8th day of December. Believe it or not, a lot of things happening on our and a lot of setbacks, a lot of challenges where we are. We apologize this morning for a slightly late start. We apologize, folks, but we got so much to share with you this morning. We trust that you guys are well. Wherever around the world you are joining us from, challenges upon challenges in this country we call Guyana. We're broadcasting live from the national capital city. Great to have folks like Dolly Anderson on the live this morning, joining us, as I said, broadcasting live from the national capital city of Georgetown here in Guyana. Debbie Collins, good to see Debs on the live as well. Debs, thanks for the thing. Thanks for the thing, Debs. It meant a lot to us. Thank you so much, and for your hospitality and your generosity as well. Debbie Collins, thank you so much. A lot of challenges at our end, folks, but it is what it is, and we want to move forward. Sharma, E. Grant Melville, good to see you this morning. Terrence Beaton, good to have you there as well. And all the other folks, Elizabeth Howard, Patricia Fraser, Patricia, all the Patricias, Patricia Asana, Jason Adams, Tony G is with us this morning as well. Good morning, FYI family. How has this new day greeted each of you? We hope well. We hope you hit the ground running, folks. Uh, uh, um, Weekend ahead of us. Time for family, for friends. Slow down a little bit. For some of you still heading out to work, still picking up the pace over the weekend, but be gentle with yourselves. Be gentle with yourself and find some time to rest. In the large scheme of things that we call life, it's brief. It's brief, folks. We're covering a lot on the front where our soldiers are concerned. We're getting unconfirmed reports that we may have lost another one overnight. I don't want to go there as yet, but unconfirmed reports on that front and a number of other issues, folks, that we are following. But good to have each and every one of you here with us from the many places that you guys join us from each and every day. Tony G, Debbie Collins, Hollis London, Savage, Savage Page, Everett Leonard, good to have you. Brenda Henry, great to have you on the live, folks. Wherever you're coming in from this morning, wherever you're joining us from, share the broadcast so that others get valid and credible information as well. And we're just tremendously privileged to have each and every one of you here with us this morning. We are going to now ensure that we share the broadcast too. We share the broadcast too. It's good to have all of you here with us. And we want to share the broadcast as well, as we said, so that others get valid and credible information. Folks, it's the morning after the night before, and we're all trying to move forward in whatever way we can. Great, as I said, to have each and every one of you join us this morning. Pauline Johns and Savannah Page and Hollis London, all the beautiful folks joining us. And Hollis says that she's saddened by the loss of lives that she's hearing about. Yeah, Pauline Johns, good to have you here. Well, it's Pauline telling us she's saddened to hear the tragic deaths of our 5 heroes. That is what they are, folks. That is what they are. We're in the line of duty with a retired brigadier there in the midst as well, Brigadier Beaton. And we lost 5 of our finest, folks. 5 of our finest. I think there's where we're picking up the broadcast from this morning. And as I said, good to have each and every one of you with us. Welcome to our broadcast. If you're now joining us, you're in the right place. Everett and Maybell and John. Good to have Siobhan McDonald, Michael Gittins on the live as well, folks. We're beset by so many circumstances, but we pray that we're not only living, folks, that against the odds and the challenges that we have, we're going to surmount them and we're going to thrive. That is our hope, and that we will continue to remember those who have gone before us. Those who've gone before us. It's a very sad time for a nation. We got so many challenges on so many fronts. Some of the larger ones is this tension, this growing tension, the Guyana Venezuela border controversy, and lots of the things that are happening there. Thanks, Debs, for letting us know that you're hearing us loud and clear. Sonia Masikab, good to have you as well, Sonia, and all the other good folks joining us. Ayaba, Natasha, Congraves, and Everett. Good to have Everett on the live as well. and all the other folks who are joining us this morning. It's such a privilege to have Sheena Hazel here. Leslyn Charles is here with us as well, and all the other folks who are joining us. As I said, it's a privilege. Just making sure that we got everything connected here, and we are good to go, folks. Welcome to our broadcast again. So many things we're following on so many fronts. So many fronts. Let's delve into some of what we're covering this morning, folks. And as you guys know by now, we've lost five of our finest. We've lost five of our finest, and we're hearing that they're telling us that our nation's flag, the golden arrowhead, is going to be flown at half mast at all state institutions and elsewhere. We encourage you to do the same. You got a flag flying outside of your house, outside of your premises, that we pay tribute to these five men. They were doing Guyana's business in that region. They were not in a product of their own. And around, they tell us it's a border community on our western borders with Venezuela. The verdict and the jury is still out on exactly what were the circumstances surrounding how that helicopter piloted by veteran pilot for over 40 years, Michael Charles, how that vessel went down. And we're told, I was told when I was in Mabaruma, I was talking with one of the persons who were chaperoning me around Mabaruma, making sure we got to Imbatiro and Yarokita and all the other stops, Barbina and all the other stops we had in between. They were exposing all of the virtues of pilot Mike Charles, because he had flown President Irfan Ali into Region 1 when I was there, into Mabaruma, and espousing on all his values. And as we stood in the airport tarmac there in Mabaruma, there was Mike Charles in his characteristic self. He came up and chatted with us. This is the pilot of the now ill-fated helicopter and then crashed in Yarao. He came up to us characteristically, had his camera in his hand, and he was flashing a photograph. I can't remember in hindsight what he said. We were just having small talk, and he came up to us and engaged us. I think at this point, Irfan Ali hadn't gone down to Kumakas yet. This is the waterfront, the main area there in Mabaruma, but was having, I think, breakfast with the soldiers. But here was Mike Charles in his characteristic self, in his jumpsuit, camera in hand, and taking shots of what was happening around the airport. He was an avid photographer, and in his many sojourns across this country, captured those journeys. And to be here today and gone tomorrow, it's part of life, but you never prepared for it. Some folks are sick and ailing, and yet when they transition, you aren't prepared for it, and much more in a time like this. Someone I shared a classroom with for many days, months, many years, transition as well. Sean Welcome, he was on this ill-fated trip into Yarao, and Sean was always such a pleasant personality, very quiet and easygoing. Lieutenant Colonel, recently promoted, recently graduated with a master's degree from the University of Guyana just during the course of last month. I saw him post photograph. I remember posting a comment, liking that photograph, excelling academically in many areas, just graduated with a master's degree, pursuing academic excellence as much as he was pursuing professional excellence. And five lives gone like that. Mr. Shahood, a veteran soldier too, Brigadier Beaton, retired, a number of other persons, folks. And even though it's the nature of life, we're never prepared for it. And so as a nation, we mourn, and some of us are grappling with emotions this morning. And so much to cope with. The Venezuelans on one side, national tragedy, on the other, and the two intertwined. These soldiers were going to shore up what's happening on our western borders. They're part of making sure that we're safe. And song this Guyanese across political divide, across religious divide. And then, they're gone. I see videos circulating around social media that might have been mechanical problems and people weighing in. I'm not a specialist. Videos of sometime the helicopter was taking off from Camp in Ghana, and so I'm not going to get into all of that. Let's wait and see what the investigation reveals, and that's what we want, a thorough investigation. I have no doubt, folks. We're going to have a very thorough investigation. And as Andre Garat says, words can't explain. I think you sum it up there. Words can't explain. We're overwhelmed with sorrow. We're overwhelmed with grief as a nation. We're begging for some good news. Father, help we. Begging for some good news. Begging for some good news. Good to see Emily Durant on the live, Sharma George, Carol Jeffers, Brenda Moore, Debbie Collins, Ingrid King, Tommy Gibbs on the live this morning. And as I said, we saw out of the Ministry of, I think this is Ministry of Home Affairs, them indicating that flags will be flown at half-mast until further notice, indefinitely, and rightly so, as we honor our finest and bravest. Part of what a colleague of mine, as I said, was telling me in Mabrona about Mike Charles, a household name, Mike Charles, known popularly, was his exploits in aviation. Mike Charles could put down that chopper some places ordinary pilots wouldn't dare to go. Right? It was rumored that even that very morning we went into Mabruma, that he flew quite close to the Venezuelan border to give the president, that was rumored, a good sight of what was happening there. He was daring, he was courageous, like all his fellow soldiers, folks, and we remember them fondly. We remember these five fondly. Ingrid King says, God help us. It's so sad. Rest in peace, Neville Seatal and Edward Brooms. See your comments as well. And Asha Nandu, we see your comments as well. She says, my heart goes out to the family. My heart goes out to the families. All our hearts, the country, our thoughts and prayers are with the families. Ayaba Natasha Congreve says, why was this so unusual? That is why this was so unusual. We await, folks. We await. Lots of rumors, lots of schools of thought, and what people believe really went down here in Arau was they just taken off, they said, when they got a distress beacon, a distress signal rather. Then that's part of what the chief of staff said. They're just taken off from an area when they got a distress signal. We wait to hear exactly from a comprehensive investigation what were all the circumstances surrounding how this helicopter went down, and these five brave souls, heroic souls, were lost. That fateful day, December 6th, I think it was. On that fateful day, folks, we're contending some other issues as well. So they're telling us flags are going to be flown at half-mast, and the next phase of this operation, they weren't able to extract the other two persons that they said survived this horrific, tragic helicopter crash. This will go down as one of those seminal moments, not only in aviation history in this country, sad and melancholy moments in aviation history, but in our national psyche. They tell us the next phase is to get the wounded out, the two survivors, to get them out of there and get them to adequate medical care. This extraction, what they call extraction, is going to be followed by that comprehensive investigation that we're calling for. And so this is the next phase of what's going to happen. the extraction of the wounded too. And then we're going to have a thorough investigation. And so the two survivors, they tell us, is Corporal Dwayne Jackson and Lieutenant Andrew Crawford. We're hearing some information unconfirmed as yet pertaining to one of them. And as soon as we're able to confirm that, we're definitely going to share more information with you guys. But for all intents and purposes, the two survivors, Corporal Dwayne Jackson and Lieutenant Andrew Crawford, we hope that they get, they're able to extract them ASAP and get them the requisite medical care. The dead Colonel Michael Charles, as we said, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Shahood, retired Brigadier Gary Beaton, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Welcome, and Sergeant Jason Khan. The 5 we lost, folks. So they're going to extract the wounded. That's the information at the hour, and then move on to a very thorough investigation. And as we on the border, Venezuela grows more bold and brazen. Today's Ebon, the madness we hear emanating from Caracas. We hope an institution like the United Nations, in which their member state is able to harness the madness, tether the madness in Caracas to reality. And one of the headlines we're seeing today is that Guyana is expecting a unanimous support from the UN Security Council. You know, that decision out of the ICJ, the National Court of Justice, quite recently, that we must not do anything, both Guyana and Venezuela, to aggravate this situation. We must not do anything to change the status quo there. That is going to be deliberated on before the United Nations Security Council. The current actions, the actions of the Bolivarian Republic today, all of that is going to be up for consideration. And folks are very eager to see the response of China and Russia and India in this Security Council meeting, the stance that they take. So it's a very interesting day. I think it was last Friday we were waiting for the decision out of the ICJ, wasn't it? John Cook, Abiola Hector, we were waking up, waiting to hear what the International Court of Justice would say. The rest is history, that we don't do anything to aggravate what's happening there on the border. We don't do anything to change the status quo. And Venezuela has gone 180 from that decision to date. And the hypocrisy of Caracas to say that Guyana is the one who is pushing fire, as we say. The hypocrisy coming out of Caracas is nothing short of stunning. The hypocrisy is nothing short of stunning, folks. And so these are some of the issues we're contending with. The leader of the opposition held a press conference quite recently, and part of what he said yesterday in that press conference by the office of the leader of the opposition, one of the things he said among the slew of issues, we're going to halt this issuing of ID cards to Venezuela and to craft and to carve out a more structured approach. Right? But before we get there, the leader of the opposition also spoke to this illegal and abhorrent behavior of the Venezuelans. Illegal and abhorrent behavior of the Venezuelans. And I believe he's absolutely right. He is absolutely right. That's what he called their actions today. Illegal and abhorrent. Take a listen to some of what he said.
The government can no longer act alone with uncertainty and inadequacy. The parliamentary opposition totally rejects the action taken by the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela to create an entity, the Integral Defense Zone, called Guyana Essequibo. This development is not only illegal and abhorrent, but has dangerous implications for the existing territorial controversy and represents a flouting of the recent decision of the International Court of Justice. Above all, this represents a major threat to peace and stability of the region.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed, folks. Illegal and abhorrent. You heard it there in his own words. Illegal and abhorrent. And he said it presents dangerous implications for the existing territorial sovereignty. You heard that, folks? We're going to run it one more time. Illegal and abhorrent, he says.
The government can no longer act alone with uncertainty and inadequacy. The parliamentary opposition totally rejects the action taken by the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela to create an entity, the Integral Defense Zone, called Guyana Essequibo. This development is not only illegal and abhorrent, but has dangerous implications for the existing territorial controversy and represents a flouting of the recent decision of the International Court of Justice. Above all, this represents a major threat to peace and stability of the region. The government...
Totally agree, folks. Welcome back. That was the leader of the opposition in the press conference just yesterday, making the arguments, the brazenness, the boldness, the madness out of Caracas. And as I said, one of the things he also advocated, one of the many things, of the 5 things I think I heard him advocate, we got to stop issuing ID cards. Stop thinking about votes. Right? And let us look to addressing this problem in a real holistic way. Folks, can you agree with that? Let us address this problem, Yolanda Thomas, Aubrey Williams, Beatrice Selby, Marcia Jackson, in a holistic way, and not a piecemeal way. Halt the issuance of ID cards. And this was among 5 things, I think, and positions we have held. Always held. Since we start seeing this huge influx of folks across our borders, unmitigated. Listen to the leader of the opposition yesterday.
Recapitalize the Guyana Defense Force to ensure it has the equipment and other resources to defend the territorial integrity and sovereignty of our homeland. 2, deploy special envoys to key institutions and countries of the world to explain the justness of our position and to re-emphasize our commitment to a peaceful resolution to the controversy. 3, establish a high-level border security commission comprising the parliamentary opposition, other key political and civil society stakeholders, as well as experts in international law, national security, and diplomacy. 4, take measures to curb the further influx of Venezuelan migrants into Essequibo, noting that one of Venezuela's strategies seems to be to populate Essequibo with Venezuelans in pursuance of its spurious claim to our territory. 5, gather and share accurate information on the number, location, citizenship status of Venezuelan migrants currently in Guyana. Apart from the children of Guyanese who are entitled to become citizens of Guyana, there must be a halt of the issuance of birth certificates and national ID cards to Venezuelans.
Yeah, you heard it there, folks. 5 things the leader of the opposition restated at yesterday's press conference that must be part of the mix as we move forward. Got to be part of the mix as we move forward. A very structured approach, those who are really entitled to Guyanese citizenship. Fair enough. But they can't just be hot here when we say we believe in this. The thousands coming across our borders. Then you got some sindicatos You got some people feeling out the situation. Naomi Ingrid, Brandy, Veronica Primo Rollins, and a very structured approach. I heard a colleague articulating that in Brazil, I think it is. Venezuelan every day got to go and check in, present the ID cards and check in, register. So people have a feel, at any one time, how many Venezuelans or whoever else is there. Can't just be a free-for-all, especially at a time like this. Bernadette Duncan, especially at a time like this. One of the other issues I heard the leader of the opposition espousing, as I said, is the halting of the issuance of ID cards. The whole process right now is too chaotic. As part of humanity, we love our Venezuelan brothers and sisters. We don't believe all of them have evil designs in our country. Some don't want no part of this nonsense with Maduro. But until such time when we can really ascertain that, all this issuance of ID cards in Venezuela. And also we heard the leader of the opposition talk about sensitizing this country. We have some half-hearted attempts. It's a one-day fan out, and then it's business as usual until the next incursion. This is going to be every day. And it cannot be left just up to government ministers. Of course, they can want to shirk that responsibility and get back to making the bread, eating the food. Has to build out more than that. But you see, this installed regime that we got to deal with here, of the belief that they alone, rational Guyanese, whether you support the People's Progressive Party civic or some other party or no party at all, that can't be the way forward. Bell Crawford, Jason James, Marcy Agar, that cannot be the way forward. Here's Mr. Norton talking about sensitizing not only Guyanese, but people who live on the Essequibo. The president, I think, called this situation now from just an existential threat to imminent threat. And we just won for dollar. Listening to what the leader of the opposition said on that front, sensitizing people on this issue, especially our brothers and sisters on the Essequibo.
We need to have a campaign carried out in our frontiers communities. In Dartmouth and the Essequibo generally, one of the things that pleased me is that all the people we met expressed the desire to continue living in Guyana, and they expressed the view that Essequibo is Guyana. What we need now is a clear government policy and program to sensitize our people in the Essequibo and to particularly focus them on not accepting any form of identification from Venezuela. I don't want us to wait until, through some nefarious means, Venezuela start sending ID cards to people, and then you have a situation that is out of control. We should be preemptive and have a structured program to say to our people, these are the dangers involved in doing that. Continue to be committed to our country, and so they are in a position of knowledge.
Preemptive, folks. You heard it from the leader of the opposition, Mr. Robert Norton. A preemptive program rather than a reactive one. So we share out flags and T-shirts one day, 2 days, and then we go back now to the status quo. That can't be it. Please, folks, don't let that be it. That can't be it at all. Please and thank you. Can't be it. Can't be it at all. So we got to collectively, together, I believe, the solution to this whole problem resides in us. But this government, this administration, has got to tap into the human resource it has in its people. Right? Can't be Hugh Todd and Clement Rohi and Robert Prasad deciding foreign affairs matters in this country. We matter what? Hugh Todd, Clement Rohi, Robert Prasad, charting a course for us on foreign policy. And one of the things we heard Mr. Norton talked about is revitalizing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, giving back the oomph that it had. And I hope that we see the errors of our ways. The government came in, dash out a hole to the professional people from the public service, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, professional people. Now you got a whole host of hacks. Relinda Rasool heading a whole department there, no experience in foreign affairs. Right? She came out of managing the ill-fated Red Jet Airlines that went down not in an accident. Just stopped flying. She managed a whole department there. We matter what in this country. Dislocate a whole host of professional people to bring in hacks, friends, family, and favorites. A woman at our embassy in Canada sent home. No excuse given. No reasons why her services deemed no longer necessary in Canada. Professional. And we could call so many other places. This is madness. This is madness. Foreign affairs is not just a trade show. We're going to showcase products in a country for a couple of days. That is important too. But our foreign office is trained and equipped on the forefront, making the arguments day in, day out in foreign capitals of the world. And having a plan articulated by the policymakers who claim, Jagdo claimed, oh, he didn't deal with small issues. He claimed he dealing only with policy issues. Where's our foreign policy? Where's our foreign policy? It's all over the place. Like the crime prevention plan. You got to piece it together like a puzzle. Piece it together. It's an enigma, wrapped in a mystery. That is what we have. And so we got no policy in how we deal with this influx of Venezuelans. Whoever come to Jack your mind any given day. That's the policy. How do you run a country like that? How? How? How are we going to run a country like that, folks? That's bottom house run-ins. Bottom house run-ins. Bottom house run-ins. It's madness. Questions were raised yesterday pertaining to oil and gas. The gas to shore project, Region 3, full speed ahead. We pursuing insurance for the gas to shore project. Vice President said we can maybe get to the bridge recrossing, man. You see? One day, one give a channel out, next day, oh, we stand in defense, we're patriotic. We've been saying we got to show up our foreign policy for a long time. When we get to the bridge, we're crossing. Gas to shore, insurance? What is insurance? You get to the bridge, we're crossing. Pump, baby, pump. So yesterday, he's telling the oil companies, don't worry, Maduro. Don't worry, Maduro. Yeah, just continue. Pump, baby, pump. Pump, baby, pump. Don't bother Maduro. Somebody said in a press conference yesterday, the vice president.
Most egregious is to create a division within PDVSA and some of his mining companies to explore for oil or give concessions in our territory. And then he threatened companies in Guyana. Now, any attempt to explore for petroleum by his state oil companies or state companies in our territory will be seen as an incursion by Guyana. An incursion and an attempt to alter the situation on the ground, contrary to the ruling of the ICJ. And I want to say to the companies that he is given an ultimatum to. They should pay no regard to Maduro or his ultimatum. We will defend that territory as sovereign Guyanese territory in which they operate. They're operating legally, lawfully in this territory. Most egregious.
Yeah, that's some of what the vice president said. Ignore Maduro. You know, he's given companies operating there 3 months, he said, to wrap up. 3 months to wrap up. I don't know if the government is using that 3 months to say, well, we got a reprieve, so let me, business as usual. Business as usual. I haven't seen the vice president in a border community. I haven't seen him in a border community in this whole experience we have here. I haven't seen him in a border community. Flew to the Essequibo for 1 day at charity. Then he was in Dubai for 10 days. See? You gotta make a bread. Gotta eat the food. The side letters leadership. Gotta make a bread, we gotta eat the food, folks. Hundreds of you on the live this morning. We're so grateful to have Biro and Don and Debbie, Neville and Marcia, Joe and Murray as well. Folks, take the opportunity to share their lives so that others can get valid, credible information as well. Let's share with you some of the other stories we're looking at this morning. Good, folks. Some of the other stories we're looking at. Sheriff Street Project late again. You know, if they're rehabilitating that road there by Conversation 3. Rehabilitating that piece of road there. That was taking a long time as well. A long time as well. Dennis Street, Sheriff Street, Road Corridor Project, behind schedule again. Tell us which train running on time in the 592. Maybe we can start there. Tell us the trains that are running on time. Maybe that's a good place to start. Anything working? Is there anything on any front working? That'd be a good place to start. Is there anything on any front working, folks? Fantastic. Fantastic place to start. I told you all we're perplexed on every side, as the good book says. Perplexed on every side. Yet again, Cyber News is reporting this. Right? Cyber News is reporting this. Yet again, projects behind. It's only one of them. Only one of the projects that are behind. And we say congratulations. In other news, we can take the little bright news wherever we can find it. a little silver lining, where we could find it. Congrats to Mohadio, Rohini Mohadio of the Rupununi, Crown the Miss Rupununi. We can take a little sliver of good news wherever we can find it. Congrats, Rohini Mohadio. You know, we need something to distract us. Something to distract us. And we see Orange Runway honored several creatives and activists locally. Orange Runway mixing fashion with advocacy, folks. You know, this is the time when we violence against women and girls, gender-based violence, 16 days of activism. It's a major feature. Well, you know, we pay a lot of lip service to it. As a government, a lot of lip service. By January, back to square one. But we're happy that this entity, Orange Runway, are making strides, and saw them recently honoring creatives, artists, and activists alike. The consumers are being urged by the Consumer Affairs Bureau, I think it is, to be cautious with local online shopping pages. A lot of folks reporting scams and they're being ripped off. They're not getting quality products. We might want to look at that. Oh, it's a small business or a business period, they're offering a service. Try to make it a good service. Try to make it a good service. We got a lot of work to do on that front. And then congrats to folks like Vishal Mahadio, lives overseas in New York, that is part of this project, Cricket Gear. And saw him recently given quite a lot of cricket gear after some local bodies. Happy people like you guys live overseas, but you built a brick behind you. So he done with them. Vishal is still trying to help and has given a number of gear to local bodies. And then, folks, Andrea Bryan Gardner is back with her Pepper Pot Affair. I think I can take a pass and see what's up. I think I can take a pass this year. Pepper Pot Affair. Andrea Bryan Gardner is back with this event. You know, this is like a Pepper Pot Expo. Here, Andrea's a good cook. Well, I can go and tell you all. I'm going to go and sample and come back and tell the others. And I think, let me see if I get the location. Let me refer to the notes. The location, this is going to be held in stage at 229 Landscape Street, Queenstown, on Saturday and Sunday. This weekend, it goes down. The 9th and 10th of December, the Pepper Pot Affair, 229 Landscape Street. And I know last year, it was the buzz. So making sure I head down there. I need a distraction from all that is Guyana currently. You know, sad news on every front. That's why we touched on Rohini Mahadio. Some good news, a sliver of hope somewhere. And all the other things happening, you know. We can scrape for the little good. We're going to scrape for the little good, folks. Good to have so many of you on the live this morning. And that is going to do it for us this morning. We don't want to detain you, wonderful folks, for it. That's going to do it for us this morning. And good to have Wayne Brown on the live with us and Raquel Gentle. Unity Lice is here as well. Rastaman, Iron. Who named Iron? What kind of a YouTube name is that? Iron. Wherever you're joining us from this morning, Joylyn Cook and Fidel Albert, Beryl Crawford, Sandra Hanover, Auntie Sandra Hanover, Joy Dotson. Good morning to you folks as well. John Cook, Veronica Primo Rollins. Folks, remember to partner with us so we can do more of these shows. Please and thank you. Remember to partner with us. And if you can do that, at least free of cost, You can share the live. You can smash that emoji button before you go. We got hundreds of you on the live this morning. Right, before you go, stop being so afraid. Somebody gonna come and see a like, see a thumbs up in the program and come and victimize you. Stop living in that cocoon of fear. If you share the program, somebody can come and watch it. Come on, folks. Come on. Hundreds of you are watching this program. Hundreds. Please and thank you. Share the live, smash that emoji button, folks, and partner with us as well. Don Cook, good to see you. Jacqueline Hercules, Yolanda. Naomi Drucker says they got wicked tendencies. Predilections. Osmond Hodge. Good to see you. Debbie Collins, Marcy Agard, all the other folks joining us. Folks, Monday's Parliament. Monday's Parliament, believe it or not. This is our final show for the week. Be gentle with yourselves as we ease into the weekend, folks. Dan Abrams, Wenda and Ayabo, Patricia Sana, Peggy Elias. Good to see you, Peggy. Great to have you on the live, Peggy. Hope you are well. Good to see you, folks. That's going to do it for us to listen. Smash that emoji. Yeah, I'm going to time. Somebody haven't listened to me. Smash. Then you smash that emoji button and share the live. It's like pulling teeth. Well, partner to be then. Nobody can see you do that. Partner with us. Claudette Bobby Lewis, Lynn Fernandez. Enjoy the weekend. Kim Batson. Enjoy the weekend as well, folks. That's going to do it for us to listen. Stay safe, guys.